So this is a part of the training that they don't teach you. You come into real estate and we got to eat, right? So you're fishing and you're hunting all day long and you want everything that drops into your lap. And that's fine, right? But if you don't put processes in place, so I'm Keller Williams trained. So we learn lead generate. You get up and you lead generate. I won't say it's necessarily 9 to 11 or 10 to 12, but in the morning I'm lead generating one way, shape, or form for a couple hours. I generally will not take calls before 9 o'clock. I don't do not disturb you. I just don't pick up, right? So when I do my buyer consultation, I'm very matter of fact, this is my schedule. I will call you back, but generally you will not get me unless it's a closing or something that's blowing up. You're generally not going to get me before 9 o'clock in the morning. And I try to shut off between 6 and 7 o'clock at night. And I hold to that for the most part. So during the mornings, I'm lead generating. In the afternoon is when I'm trying to do training or I'm going to, view houses, do networking events. I don't do much paperwork, as you know. I've got more around, but I am kind of overseeing and eyeing and always preparing for the next day and the next client.
Okay. Welcome to the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Jefferson, and today our guest is Miss Sylvia Gause. How are you, Sylvia?
I am well. I hope you are as well.
I am doing well. Sylvia, tell us a little bit about who you are.
I am a mom first. I am a seasoned 13-year agent serving the Metro Atlanta and Charlotte area. I am a relationship builder, and I love all things investment.
So, where are you currently located? You say you serve Atlanta, Metro Atlanta, and Charlotte.
Yeah, I am in the Charlotte market. So I sold in the Atlanta market for many, many years. And then I sold in the Charlotte market for many years. And then I transitioned to Atlanta for about just under 8 years. And family and life brought me back to Charlotte. So I am in Charlotte, so basically I'm a dual state agent.
Got you. How does that work? Do you have showing assistants in the Atlanta area, or do you travel back and forth?
I travel back and forth for my more personal clients, my personal referrals, my sphere, and then I have showing agents that I utilize for my other clients.
Got you.
I basically pour in the other clients to give them the opportunity to get up, to get out there, get a feel for the market, be able to have conversation with clients as well.
Got you. What got you into real estate?
What got me into real estate is kind of funny. I'm a cancer survivor, and I was told that I could never have any more children. And I popped up pregnant. I popped up pregnant as my oldest was getting ready to enter high school. I was like, whoa, like I'm about to start all over. And at the time, my ex-husband and we talked about it. And I said, I didn't think I could have any more children. So here we are. I want to have the experience of being a real mom. Is there any that I can stay home? And at the time we had a Allstate, I was in corporate America, but we had a couple Allstate offices as well. And it just, put us in a position where I could move forward and come out of corporate and be that full-time mom. And it gave me the flexibility and I could bring my baby with me. And that was how I got into real estate. Although I think I always kind of had that real estate bug. I grew up in Connecticut and I always wanted to do it, but obviously, commission, a little frightened, really thought I was an entrepreneur, but I wasn't an entrepreneur. I had to kind of work myself into being an entrepreneur.
Wow. How long did you have the Allstate offices?
We had them for, my ex-husband still has them. He's independent now, but we had them for, at that time, probably about 3 or 4 years. So we were at the point where we're starting to see some trails, some renewals. And, we had low debt. We just were in a good situation at that point in time.
Got you. Was this in Charlotte or Atlanta?
No, this was in Charlotte. This is in the Metro Charlotte area. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Charlotte really the next Atlanta?
No. Well, let me say this. I'm going to say no because Charlotte, I don't think will ever have that twist on it that Atlanta has, right? Atlanta is none other, right? It's no other. It's the playground for entrepreneurs, for Black professionals, for all things, everything. It's like you come with a blank slate in Atlanta, like you would in New York or California. You can be whomever you want to be. I don't think Charlotte is there yet. I think Charlotte is much more conservative, although there is a mass exodus of people coming from Atlanta to Charlotte. So today I can't see it, but who knows?
Interesting.
Yeah, we have traffic, but nothing like Atlanta. And obviously the population, I think Atlanta, what is that, 67 million right now? We are nowhere near that. So.
Got you. So where have you had more success, Charlotte or Atlanta?
I'm going to attribute both to who I am today. I started out, I lived up in Lake Norman, and I was one of two African Americans in my Keller Williams office. And at the time, the market was starting to crash. And I think because of who I was or how I looked, a lot of my counterparts assumed that I knew how to do credit challenge people. They assumed I knew about down payment assistance. So I got thrown a lot of business because as the market was starting to crash on an office on the lake, a lot of these agents were used to high-end business. And so now you've got everybody coming out of the woodworks that wants to buy real estate and, they don't know how to have the conversation. So I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And I got a lot of business. So back in the day, as the market was starting to crash and as it started to come back up, I did a lot of first-time buyers. I learned down payment. I learned credit repair. And so I built a really, really good business while I was here in the Carolinas. At the time, we were looking to open franchise out of Keller Williams' office, uptown Charlotte, and it didn't work. But I wanted to get that experience. So I took a position as a managing broker, which as I started to go through a divorce, an opportunity became available in Atlanta for me to open up the South Atlanta office. And so I transitioned over to that office. And when I got to Atlanta, I soon found out that I was a nobody, right? Atlanta is relational. It's very cliquish. And it was really hard for me to grow my office. So I took the low road and I went back into sales. And then it afforded me an opportunity to become the president of the Women's Council. And I just kind of started to flourish from there. So I like to say I got my base in Charlotte, but I really first flourished and blossomed when I got to Atlanta. And I tell you, we don't realize how transient Atlanta and Charlotte is. So as I'm sitting in Atlanta, my counterparts, my past customers, my family, everybody knows I'm there, and people are moving from Charlotte to Atlanta and they're referring people to me. And then people are leaving from Atlanta going to Charlotte. And so I'm going back and forth the entire time. But I looked up and it was ironic. My assistant said to me, she says, we did like 8 or 9 luxury sales in 1 year. So yeah, we looked up and my assistant said, I did like 8 or 9 luxury transactions. And she said, you're a luxury agent. And I said, well, what does that look like? Well, everybody in Atlanta, what do they strive to do is luxury. So, before I knew it, I kind of fell into doing this business, which predominantly came from the Charlotte market. So I learned to do business with a different type of person, right? A different mindset, a different quality of customer. They have their money together. They know what they want. They're generally move up buyers, right? Not as much hand holding as your normal first time buyer. So I became a very well-rounded agent. I can do the first time buyer. I can do the move up buyer. I can do the luxury. I also had a really good friend that was a nurse or is a nurse. And she kind of put me in the arena with the nurses. So I ended up getting a lot of nurses coming out, some big hospitals. in Atlanta, and they're generally at a higher price point. So it just kind of transcended. So, but it really just started from the referrals coming from Charlotte.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Luxury. What price point is considered luxury?
Well, if you use the stats from the Luxury Institute, luxury is deemed by your market, right? What the customers or clients have set in that market. So at the time, I think I've been luxury designated 3 or 4 years. I kind of sold in all of the counties, but I had enough to meet my numbers. So I think we went on Fulton, and at the time, Fulton might have been 500 or 600. But it's county driven. So obviously, if you get in some smaller counties, that price point is a little lower, but I don't think there's a number under 500. I think that kind of sets the bar. Going out to North Fulton, some of those, other areas, obviously the price point is going to be a little higher.
Gotcha.
California, they're probably 800 or 900 is probably their median or something like that. So.
Got you. So is luxury now your niche?
A ready, willing, and able buyer is my niche. Okay, I like all of them. Right, it's obviously nice to pop off a couple luxury ones because you might have to do 2 of the regular ones or 3 of the regular ones to get a good luxury client. But I like mixing them. I'm a relationship person, so a lot of people come into business and they say, "I want to do listings." Come out there, all I want to do is listings. I'm different. I'm a talker. I build relationships. I like being on both sides of it, especially on the buyer side, because that's where my referrals come from, right? There's such gratitude when they purchase. They want to pour into you, they want to pour into your business, and they want to share. And I tell my customers, my clients, there's no reason why you're closing deals and you're not getting referrals. You have done something wrong. And so it keeps my pipeline full. The seller, I go drop the sign in the yard. Hell, I'm selling most of them off market now. They're not even getting to the point, if you put it coming soon, they're gone. So where's the relationship in that? Although it's an easier sale, but I like going to the baby showers. I like going to all the parties. One of my customers just, became a Kappa, so I'm getting ready to go to that big party. So hence customers. I love to cook. I have a lot of them over at my house. I just love the relationship piece of it. I love to be around people. So I don't have a preference. I'm probably 50-50, but I probably will never get rid of my buyers.
Got you.
Ever.
What was your sales volume? Do you know what your sales volume was in 2021?
I believe it was around 14 or 15 million, not necessarily high, but a good enough amount. I do well.
Right.
I do well. So, 14, 15 million, I think I probably did about 30-ish deals. My price point was a little higher. And so obviously the higher your price point, the less amount of deals you have to do. Some people focus on units. Some people focus on volume. I focus on my income. I know what number I have to make every month in order to make my bills in the safe and to keep my child in college, right? So if that number is that, and if it turns into be 300,000 this year or 400, that's what it is.
Right. What do you know what your numbers were in 2019?
2019, I believe I was around 10. We were starting to experience that COVID. A lot of deals are starting to fall off the books, but I believe I was around 10. I'm pretty steady, not necessarily or desire to be a $30 million producer because I believe in work-life balance. So I pour into a lot of my agents, not that there are deals I don't want to do. I believe in pouring into the newbie. And so, obviously giving them the opportunity to work with the first-time buyer. So I do give a lot of deals away. And people don't. I do give a lot of deals away. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with getting 2 or 3 referral checks a month. And I'm okay with doing, 2 to 3 deals a month at a decent price point, and just pouring into people and getting the referrals. I keep the pipeline so I'm able to help all my agents. So. Got you.
How many agents do you have on your team?
Well, I don't have a structured team, if you will. I use my downline as my team.
Okay.
And then so as I get newer ones coming in, I kind of watch what they're doing. And when I think they're ready, I want to pour into them, right? I want to keep them happy. I don't want them to feel like, they just can't make it in real estate. So then that's when I start passing the deals around. And they all roll up to me. So, I get a referral check, I get an override. So, it's a great business, right?
Right. So what does your team in terms of, do you have a showing assistant, TC, transaction coordinator, anything like that?
Yeah, so I've had the same office manager, assistant, jack of all trades for about 12 years. There was just 1 year we weren't together when the market was really bad, but for the most part, she's been with me the whole time. So she does everything. If you call me about a file, I probably can't answer it. I'm going to tell you to call Laura. She does it all. She knows my temperament. I'm a high D person. I think sometimes we tend to, or people that don't know us think we're abrasive or short. We're not. We're just really focused, but that's not what I do. I don't know paperwork. That's her thing. So the minute you're under contract, it's Laura, I'm on with the next person. So I've had Laura for 12 years. I have, a couple showing assistants that I do utilize in the Atlanta area. And then I'm grooming a couple of agents to come on right now. I'm in the process of opening up my coaching business. I'm John Maxwell certified now. And so I'm starting to, I'm kind of building that whole platform right now. And I'm really gearing towards the first time agents, the newer agents. So a kind of 45, 60, 90 day to get you up and going. This is what you should be doing at this point, this point, this point. And just setting some realistic expectations. A lot of people, they're caught up in the social media and everybody wants to have the nice car, the nice clothes, the red bottoms and all those things. And they think that's what's going to make them successful. And if you don't have a basis, a foundation, you're not going to go anywhere. You can do all those things and incur debt, right? But do you want some longevity in this business? So let's focus on and start where we're supposed to start. And it's a natural progression in any business. So I want to focus on those that have that mindset.
What does a $15 million a year producer's day look like? Even though your price point's high, there's still a lot of work in that. So what does your day look like from you getting up to when you shut it off, if you shut it off?
Oh, I shut it off. So this is a part of the training that they don't teach you. You come into real estate and we got to eat, right? So you're fishing and you're hunting all day long and you want everything that drops into your lap, and that's fine, right? But if you don't put processes in place, so I'm Keller Williams trained. So we learn lead generate. You get up and you lead generate. I won't say it's necessarily 9 to 11 or 10 to 12, but in the morning I'm lead generating one way, shape or form for a couple hours. I generally will not take calls before 9 o'clock. Do not disturb you. I just don't pick up, right? So when I do my buyer consultation, I'm very matter of fact, this is my schedule. I will call you back, but generally you will not get me unless it's a closing or something that's blowing up. You're generally not going to get me before 9 o'clock in the morning. And I try to shut off between 6 and 7 o'clock at night. And I hold to that for the most part. So during the mornings, I'm lead generating. In the afternoon is when I'm trying to do training or I'm going to, view houses, do networking events. I don't do much paperwork, as you know. I've got more around, but I am kind of overseeing and eyeing and always preparing for the next day and the next client.
Okay. So let's look at your clients, right? Mm-hmm. You said that you typically you'll work with a ready, willing, and able buyer. What is, and you touched on it, what is the biggest difference that you see in your buyers that are in the, let's say, $250 range and $500,000 range in terms of mindset and, I guess, financial ability?
Well, the financial ability obviously that's probably self-explanatory, right? So if you're in that higher end, you're probably selling a property. And so you probably have some reserves. So generally, we don't have that big of a problem. But buyers have been through one or two sales. And so it is a little easier to maneuver around. Now, they can sometimes be a little more difficult, right? Because they've had two or three houses and they know what they want and they don't budge from it. And because they've done it two or three times, they're trying to tell you how to do the deal or how to do your job. So it's just babysitting that a little bit. But you know, for the most part, you can get in and out with them for the most part a little easier. Now, flipping to the 250 buyer, I have, and through the years, just because I've had some of everything happen to me, I have a 10 commandments that I have them sign. And that 10 commandments, when I do the buyer consultation, that consists of don't co-sign, don't change job, you know, all those things that lenders tell them to do. And so I just kind of reinforce it, but it has happened to me, and that's why it's on the list, and it will probably continue to happen. So it's that 250 buyer, it's shifting their mind. They're all watching HGTV. So I generally say, please stop. If you can stop watching HGTV for 45 days, record 60 days, because let me tell you a story. I knew exactly what episode my customer was talking about. So she says, oh my God, I'm so excited. You know, 100 houses and blah, 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 blah. And I knew exactly when she said 100 houses, there was an HGTV episode and they prefaces that said, and I said, listen, we're gonna be lucky if we can find 10 that will even fit. Okay, so so that's not gonna happen. But so getting them off of the HG, getting them off of, because they see us online shaking our signs and yeah, we're sold, but there's a lot that goes to that. So getting their mind right? We're not going to look at any houses and get you with a lender. We're not going to look at any house until that lender's gotten you through. We're not going to look at any houses until we've been able to confirm that your assets are in place. We're not going to look at any house until we know we can close in 21 days. The max. Would you agree you start getting 45 days, it might be a 50-50 chance that you might close, right? So when I'm taking you out, unless you're doing a down payment program. Right. So when I take you out, we're ready to go. I'm taking you out with the intent, we are going to find a house. And send me the houses and we're going to move through them. I'm your houses. But if you tell me that you're looking for a 4-bedroom, 250 with a backyard in this school district, blah, 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 that's what we're looking for. When you say the house is 300 and you said, that's not honest. Now, if it's in the same neighborhood and we have a little bit of time, maybe we'll through it. But I'm very intentional because you be focused, because finding the house, getting pre-qualified is one, pre-approved is one thing. Looking for the house is another thing, but getting you to the closing tables on the ball game, right? And I got to keep you focused. And just because you get a conditional approval, it doesn't house. So they put online, I bought my house. No, you didn't buy a house, you're in the contract. We got a whole process that we got to go through. So it's just kind of being, hard on them, soft on them, keeping them focused and saying, listen, I want to get you to the table. I want to get you to the closing. We got you under contract. Remember, you still can't buy anything. Remember, you still can't co-sign. Okay, when the lender asks you for something, give it to them. Take a folder with you to work. 9 times out of 10, the lender, the underwriter is going to request information that then goes through the lender process. You're probably going to have to supply that information 2 or 3 times. Be ready to do it. You're probably going to have a point in time in there where you're going to be pissed off with the lender, and then you're going to be pissed off with me because you're going to think I'm the lender friend in cahoots, right? And you're going to go back and forth, but our job is to get you through the close. So keeping that too focused, to not have a lot, they spend it. Sometimes we get to the end and they still have to go get gifts. I try to explain gift money up front. If we get to that point and you have to get a gift, know that that person you're asking for want to give. Try to tap on as many things as I can possible. I obviously can't cover everything because everything doesn't apply, but I do try to cover as much stuff as I can, because that first time buyer is a little more challenging. They want to do it, but they don't realize the things that it takes to get it.
Got you. First 45 days as an agent. You touched on that. Give us a few hints on what that would look like in your program from your eyes, your standpoint.
The first 45 days in my program should be getting set up to run a I'm going back to the things that I didn't know. Although we had a business, I wasn't running the business. Running the business. So real estate, we're always looking for that check. And there's a lot of things that come along with that big check. So the first thing you need to do is you need to be set up to run a business. You need to be set up with your proper phone number, your address, not your home address. We need to start thinking about what kind of money you can have, because everybody's going to come into this a little different into this, with my husband having a business, right? So I kind of stuff. I had a big church sphere. That may not be you. We need to talk about where your business is going to come from. This business a lot of money, right? So what's going to be your marketing spend? Some people are cold callers, some people are door knockers, right? Let's try to kind of figure out where you.
And we added. So Sylvia, what does the first 45 days look like for a realtor in your program?
So the first 45 days really is about mindset, right? It's understanding that you're an entrepreneur, that you're operating a business. You want to land in this business. Some people want to be, we talked about it earlier on the listing side, the buyer side. Some people come through this and find out they're great transaction coordinators, right? It's really kind of that discovery process and then getting yourself set up to do business. So do you have your LLC, operating? A lot of things that I focus on in my program is going to be about experience. So I know I got in, and I'm not afraid to say it because this might help somebody. I got in a lot of IRS trouble, right? And it was because I was living off of every single penny of my check and really not focusing on what they teach you in the red book is, a third, right? Your marketing, your business expenses, your taxes, blah, blah, blah. And so I want to make sure that if I can help agents get set up coming out the gate, and you get set up with that mindset and that mentality, because it's hard to go from a $20,000 income a month down to chopping it up to 5 or 6 or 7, right? But if you start like that, if you start with having your business set up with your mindset, if you start knowing that you have to lead, your lead generation may be different from mine, right? I was trained to do morning. Some people like to do it in the afternoon. However it looks, just to design your day and be consistent. So we have to start there, right? Then we start focusing on where are our customers going to come from, okay? We start the basics of, the conversation with the customer, getting that customer to get pre-qualified, just not taking somebody out because they said they want to buy a house, right? There's a process and setting the proper expectation with your customer. So this could be a great experience and we can be in and out of it, happen, but with the things that we can control, control the things that we can, and the things that we can't, we don't, right? Right. And then we move on to, now you're really ready to be out there. You're 45, you're 60 days. I'm not saying you won't have a customer during the interim, but I'm saying these things still have to be in process, right? And then we get you out there. How do you behave when you're with the customer? What are the conversations that you have? Understand that you are conducting business. So some have a customer that's a friend, you become very laxy-daisy, right? But you still need to be, on your P's and Q's no matter what.
So is this first 45 days the same whether you're a new agent or seasoned agent?
Well, no, because a seasoned agent is probably not going to come in this program, not unless they are a seasoned agent in the sense of I've had my license for 25 years and I never really did business.
Gotcha.
And now I don't want to be an entrepreneur. So really just focused on, because that's where we're having the biggest problem at. A lot of people are getting licenses because they're not taking the time to learn the contracts, right? They're not taking the time to have the conversations. And a lot of times they're afraid to have the conversations because they feel like they're going to lose a customer. You're going to lose them anyway. So let's just have the conversation and do right. You know, we're here to uphold morality, right? And you're not on the check, but getting them through. And then the money will come when you do right, because it's going to referrals. It's going to come from being a good steward. It's just going to come from being just that honest person, you know, and people are going to do business with people they know, like, anyway, right? So they're going to refer them out, and you will obviously gain your success.
Let me see. So in terms of realtor knowledge on financing, how much do you feel an agent should know about the finance side of the mortgage process to be a good agent?
Well, an agent, in my opinion, an agent should be very knowledgeable, but they still need to stay in their lane, right? So when I'm having that consultation or conversation, I'm listening for key things, right? In fact, I have a jot form that I send to my customers, and it asks the question: have you paid your bills on time for the last 6 months? Do you have student loans? Are you a veteran? I ask very specific questions, because at that point I'm trying to decipher which lender I'm sending them to, right? But if somebody says that they haven't paid their bills or they've had 2 or 3 late payments, I'm probably not my vanilla lender, right? You still should be able to have the conversations. If they have student loans, right? You should at least be able to know the rules to be able to guide them through. What you don't want to do is just have people's credit just getting pulled just to have it get pulled, right? If somebody is looking for a down payment, you should be able to talk about whether it's county or state, what's available to them. So I think on a high level, you should be able to have the conversation, but you are not the lender, and nor is the lender the realtor. So I generally may know most of the answers to the questions. I will a high level answer and deliberately them to the lender. And I generally say, listen, the lender deals with the money and I'm the realtor, I deal with the house. So we're having this conversation right now, and I guarantee you we're going to have it 10 more times, because you're their first person of contact, right? So they're innately just going to always call you first. And then I will generally say, remember, you need to call the lender. That's a money question. And that way I keep myself out of trouble, because I'm their trusted advisor. So I may misspeak, but they're going to remember what I say. Everything I say is golden, because the lender is just an arm of me, right? So I'm very careful to choose my words and how in depth I go with that.
Got you. With how many lenders do you traditionally work with?
I have 3 that I work with, and they both can do both of my, all 3 of them can do my states. Now, I'm all about giving lenders an opportunity, right? Because somebody gave me an opportunity. So I usually, as I meet people through network events, I'm always waiting for an opportunity to be able to rotate them in, because here's the thing. Lenders don't always do what they're supposed to do, right? They get comfortable, right? And they just think, oh, my realtor just gonna send me, and then they a little laxy day, right? Sometimes we'll shake it up a little bit. Oh, okay. When you see you haven't gotten anything from me in 2 or 3 months, now you're gonna get back on your P's and Q's. But it's an opportunity. Like I said, we all have to start somewhere. If you're a newbie, it doesn't mean you're not gonna be great. You just got to have the opportunity. So you may have a specialty program. You may, do something heavily with doctors that, my lender doesn't, or you may be great at first time buyers. You just may be great at the conversation. And if I get one of those people that, ask 50,000 questions, then I probably can't send them to somebody that's short, right? Just fill out the app and I'll tell you if you're qualified. I got to get them to somebody that's going to handhold them a little bit, right? So it's a lot of discernment, when you're working with these clients in general.
Gotcha.
But I know enough to be dangerous, but I'm not a lender.
in terms of when do you do the buyer's consultation? Do you do the buyer's consultation before they're pre-approved, or you do it after they've spoken to the lender and got pre-approved?
Well, it kind of depends. So most of the time, the conversation can turn into the buyer consultation. So I'm kind of nitpicking. I'm prying a little bit to get information. So it probably like it's kind of in two stages, right? That initial one, I'm just trying to see if I do have a ready, willing, and able buyer, how serious they are. So I'm asking some questions. I'm not going too deep because if you can't buy now, you know, I want to get you in position to focus on getting ready versus, focusing so much on that house up in the hills, blah, 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 right? We want to get you ready because if you're not ready, you can't do anything. So I'll tell them, listen, I'm going to let you kind of look, but we got to get you in position. And if you spend too much time focusing on the house, we'll never get you in position, right? So I'll push back a little bit, but it's generally a two-part thing. And then once we get the pre-approval, not the pre-qual, the pre-approval, we've gone through desktop, everything is in place, because at this point, we're ready to go. And it's going to roll quickly, 21 to 30 days. But I do spend a lot of time either in person. Now with COVID, a lot of it's, we've discovered Zoom, right? And I love it. I'm probably going to keep doing a lot of it Zoom because now I don't have to travel time. And then I can bring all parties. I don't have to wait for a husband's schedule, a wife's schedule. And if I have to work at 8:00 to do a Zoom because it works for your schedule, that's fine. I'll do that. But yeah, it's a two-part. It's a two-part for the most part. But definitely, it ain't happening while we're on the way, while we get ready to write the offer, while we're walking through the house. Nope.
I'm just laughing because I can imagine. Well, this is what we're going to do. This is your consultation.
Listen, what I'm saying, I can teach you on this because I've had this stuff happen. I've had somebody call probably 5:30 one night and say, I saw this house and this is the house I want. Can you show it to me? I'm like, who are you? How did you get to me? Right? Came through the prompt system. And I met them, didn't know anything about them. Luckily, I keep contracts in my car. At the time, we were doing a lot of paper. And I literally did the buyer consultation. I had already sent them to the lender while I was en route. I did all that on the back, on the hood of a car, right? That's not how you do business. That worked out and we closed, but that generally is not going to work out for you, right? And so I go when people call, but I didn't know anything then, right? I was, a couple months in.
With your current company, you hit you got an award last year. Congratulations, first off. It's amazing that you hit it. It's called Icon. Tell us what Icon means to you, receiving the award. What do you need to do to receive the award of an icon in your company?
So to receive the Icon Award, you cap, and then you do 20 deals after your cap. And that puts you at icon status. But bigger than that, and then you get stock awards, which is the biggest bonus to it. And that's just another arm of building your wealth, your income. But it's, once you reach icon at my company, people start to recognize you and you start to get a lot of opportunity. I've gotten tons of speaking engagements. I get people that are wanting to refer business. And they only want to refer to an icon, right? Because once you reach that icon, generally you're either see certain expertise and you know how to maneuver around a client. So it's opened up bigger than a stock. It's just really put me in a position to be in an arena with different types of people. So I've been able to mastermind with some of the top. And in our community, we don't see a lot of people like us reaching that level organically. Okay, I'm not talking about the things you see online, but organically, hard work, building relationships. And, I've just met so many great people. I was in an icon breakfast, and I don't know if you know the Gleatons out in Atlanta, Calvin Gleaton and we just started networking. I've just met so many people throughout the US. I'm almost three quarters of the way of making icon a second time. Now, I didn't pay attention to my numbers, and I probably have made it sooner. I didn't pay attention, and I was giving a lot of deals away. And I preface this with, I give a lot of referrals away. And I've become more strategic about it because I know I've got to hit that 20. So I may use my agents as a showing assistant to make sure I get the credit. So I'm being very mindful. So I'm giving less away until I make icon now, right? But then the minute I hit icon, I can pour more into people. And rentals and everything count, for that. But it's just being very strategic in how you get your numbers. And it's the relationship building. My business is referral. I haven't paid for leads in years. My customers generally are sending people to me. I've come back to Charlotte, and I think every deal outside of one has been a past customer since I've been back the entire year. So I can sit here, I can pretty much say that I don't sit too many weeks that I don't have a past customer calling me.
Wow. How do you keep in touch with your past customers?
I'm at all the parties. I'm at the parties. They're at my parties. I'm following them on social media, like, spying on them a little bit, seeing what's happening, making sure I'm congratulating them. And I can tell you one thing that makes me smile. I'm at the point now where I'm doing my customers' kids.
Wow.
So I'm being pulled back to first-time buyers. And now it's even more crucial because I sold your mom and your daddy house, right? I got to maneuver around that a little more carefully, right? Because those millennial issues have friends. So I'm having different conversations, and I can always tell when I get the call or the text from the you sold a house to my mama. So when I'm getting that text and it says you sold a house to my mama, my daddy, I know I'm dealing with that millennial-ish, and I have to maneuver around a different way, twofold, because I've already sold your parents a house or your mom or your dad a house, and now I got to take great care of you, even more exceptional, right? Because that's my business, my reputation on the line. And most of these millennial issues, that's our biggest buying pool right now, they have friends. So, I want to do an exceptional job so you can continue to send me the referrals. But, for us ones that have been around a long time, I'm 50 something and, I pick up the phone. I pick up the phone and everybody wants to do business. And sometimes I literally have to say, listen, I cannot sell you a house on the phone. Let's schedule a time. You got to pick up the phone. We got to talk. And then I try to make it, a productive call because I know that I'm not going to get them too many times on the phone.
Right.
You must know that for sure.
Yeah, I do. You have a conversation with them, and then they start texting you a bunch of like, there's no way in the world I'm be able to explain the fee sheet to you through text. I'm not going to.
Abbreviated text. I'm like, what are they saying? Like, what? I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, I'm a phone guy too. Let's talk about it and see, because the question that you ask could spur another question, or a question that I add, and the way I answer it could bring another question. And I feel like if it goes beyond 2 long text messages, then let's just talk.
But Kevin, to that though, we are in a generation where it's so tech heavy. And so the one thing that I've been focusing on this year is more automation. I'm just not a tech person. I don't know how to do it. I probably will never do it, but I will pay somebody to make sure it's in order. But we just are in that generation. So capturing these people, these leads, the minute they come in, we can't always pick up the phone. So making sure there's a bot or something capturing them initially, and then trying to, get a time on the calendar. I'm just not a tech person. It's driving me crazy. Like I remember I can go back to the first computers, the Wang, when the screen was black and green. And, I've watched I've watched all stuff come about, but it was something new, but this is life now, right? And we have to be able to pivot with the market or put somebody in position that can pivot and make us look good.
Got you. Got you. Speaking of, since you said pivot, at what point, how do you want to see your career end from real estate? Is it you walking away and just enjoying life, or is it you stepping away and being more of the coaching role, like sounds like you're getting into now? No.
Where I'm really thinking
All right.
I'm at a point right now where I'm really starting to think about my real estate. Actually looking to purchase a retirement lot, and part of going into the coaching and starting to come out of the hard selling and being able to groom and grow other agents. They always talk about having a sellable business, and I didn't understand until I realized the power of my database. That database has taken me through two states, and have put me in a position to live a really, really good life. So I understand the value of being able to sell that off. I don't know what dollar will be on that, but looking at adding the coach into this, obviously I don't want to be 70 years old hauling customers around, right? But I can be a trusted advisor to many. So I hope that I can put myself in a position through my teaching and my training to be able to groom agents that want what I have to offer and or look like me, to get them in position to do business the right way. So many of us fail forward. And if I had somebody to give me lessons, I probably could have avoided a lot of pitfalls. I didn't know, I didn't know. Being an entrepreneur, being in real estate, you really have to have some cash put aside, right? Because there are going to be times that you may go 2 or 3 months without a closing. And you have to prepare for that. And that's that mindset, that's understanding how you divvy up your commission check so you can be in position for those rainy days. And I've come through the market crash. I've come through learning short sales by default. I don't even know what we call this market right now, right? But this too shall pass, right? And it'll be something else. So, we don't know what's ahead for us, but we have to keep up with the trends. The education is important. The coaches are important. Know who your coach are. You just don't want to be with somebody that just wants the paycheck. Do you have a heart to serve and pour into people? And that's what it's about. And it's about having that hard conversation. Sometimes people have to tell us and get us straight. You not want to hear, but sometimes they got to get us straight. Get your ish together, right? You hear that more than you hear, okay, we're going to talk at 8:00. I want this and this done. It's that hard conversation, right? And I can tell you a lot of successful people, they've had somebody pull them aside and say, listen, this don't look good. Let me help you. And I want to be the person that helps you.
Got you. Is there anyone that has inspired you along the way, that, whether it's you built the relationship with them personally, or you followed them and was like, okay, if they can do it, so can I. And not in a competition way, but in a like, okay, this inspires Sylvia to be good. Great.
I don't know that there's a person per se. I think being attached to certain organizations and seeing how different people have maneuvered around their business and taken it to a whole nother level. I have some really good friends out in the Illinois area. You're talking about pivoting and having a business that is multifaceted. So, I've watched them along the way. I've become really good friends with them. Many know Marky Lemons Rouse. She's a phenomenal coach, entrepreneur. She's bringing her son into business. I love Carrie, Joe Little. I met these ladies through Women's Council. So it's important to be a part of something, right? You don't know who you're going to meet, how they're going to pour into you. I don't even think they know what they've done for me. But just, I think from the business aspect, not necessarily, they haven't necessarily been my coaches, but just watching people. So it's something to be said, you don't know who's watching you. You don't know who's watching you. And then you look at the people on television, right? And unpack that, right? You know, a lot of the stuff is for TV, but there are some really successful people that major big numbers that don't necessarily like what they do, right? So however you do is how you, but I'm more of a laid back person. I'm watching. I know that people are watching me, and the more silent and quiet person, they have more to offer than that big personality sometimes.
Right. Awesome. So for anyone who is interested in getting in contact with you, whether to become, a student in your coaching program or to learn more about you and your organization, how can they reach you?
You can reach me. My number, I've had the same number for 30 years. Jesus. I can be reached at 704-806-6779. And as mentioned before, I am serving the Metro Charlotte and Atlanta, as well as the Triad area. I am looking to start to build this team out a little further so I can move into coaching. And some, anybody that's just looking, that has an open mind, that wants to learn, I want to pour into you. I want to help you avoid some of the things that, weren't taught to me. Obviously, certain things have to happen, right, to make you great. But whatever I can do and whatever I can offer, I'd love to be that trusted resource.
Okay, awesome. Sylvia, this has been an awesome podcast. Great opportunity to talk to you and see how you've been able to grow your business and be successful. I look forward to having and building that relationship with you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
This has been the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Jefferson. Have a great day.
Thank you for watching the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast with Kevin Jefferson. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when the latest video drops.